Let's talk about autoimmune disease and how many other autoimmune conditions are you dealing with on top of your primary autoimmune conditions. Hey everybody, my name is Sam. I've been dealing with ankylosing spondylitis for almost 30, 40 years, and I started hurting when I was my 13 years old. It was not diagnosed yet, but it didn't. It took more than 10 years before I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis, and ever since then, I had a lot of surgery's been done, a lot of bone damages, and all that stuff. So my primary autoimmune condition is ankylosing spondylitis. As a little disclaimer, I am not a medical professional or doctor or in any of the medical field. Everything I talked about are mainly conditions I have been dealt with and condition I've been dealing with currently, and the treatment that's been applied on myself only. If you have any concerns or any questions in regards to your medical conditions, treatments, please forward those to your doctor. They know the best for you. Thank you. So, autoimmune conditions, we all know it's basically our own immune system that is attacking our own body. And, the ankylosing spondylitis, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, all these falls into the category of autoimmune disease. Now, according to the CDC, there's more than 80 different autoimmune disease that's classified. But according to some of the other autoimmune disease websites, there's more than 100 autoimmune condition that's been known. Here's a list of all the autoimmune conditions that I found on the internet. And this is the autoimmune site, not the CDC. There's more than 100 different autoimmune conditions on here, and it's all listed alphabetically from A to Z. And there's just a whole lot. More than 100 ways that our body can attack ourselves. And here's a list of the most common ones is generally more like diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's, psoriasis, and lupus and things like that. Ankylosing spondylitis is not classified as a common one, but I think it should be. Being a common autoimmune disease does not mean that it's the most destructive, and vice versa. Not being common does not mean that it's a very light autoimmune disease. Just like ankylosing spondylitis, right? It is a very disabling condition. Now, generally, from my understanding and what I, been through all these years of talking to all my doctors and all that stuff, generally for people who have autoimmune disease, there usually would be one autoimmune condition that is uh, pretty much the most severe one that causes all kinds of problem in our life. And on top of that, there are some what I call the sub autoimmune conditions that's just making things worse. Me, for instance, like I mentioned, my primary autoimmune condition is ankylosing spondylitis, which is a bone disease, the same as rheumatoid arthritis. It damages all the bones and it fuses my spine. Primarily, it will basically um, calcify the cartilages in the joints. And I had many surgeries. I had many replacements already. Like my both of my hips have been replaced, and both of my shoulder has been replaced because there was no there was no cartilages in here. The movement is just so painful, and I was not able to stand up. So that's the primary autoimmune condition in my body that's been killing me, that's been damaging my body is it's basically eating up all the cartilages on my joints. It was literally making life hell for me. I mentioned in other videos that I just lost so many events in my life, so many activities, so many things in my life. It's just pretty much ruined ordinary life. Now, on top of that, if that is not enough already, now I do have other immune conditions. The second worst autoimmune condition in my body is IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. Now I have IBS-D, which just stands for diarrhea. There's also IBS-C. Some people will have constipation. Now I mainly have diarrheas and my guts just irritates. it spasms, it cramps, and I just need to run to the restroom. A lot of times it just comes out of the blue. I can be eating, I can be elsewhere, I can be somewhere, and I just need to run. And I believe GERD, I also think GERD is actually part of the IBS issue, or if anything, I would probably classify that as an individual autoimmune condition because I have GERD and it's affecting my upper GI as well as my lower. The IBS is also causing my esophageal spasm. And when it spasms, it really hurts. I felt like I was having chest pain. I felt like I was literally almost having same symptoms as a heart attack. It feels pretty horrible. Feel nauseous, all the other kind of stuff like lightheaded, dizziness that all come with it as well. So that's the second. So IBS is my second autoimmune condition. The third, uveitis, on mostly my left eye. Uveitis is the inflammation of the eye. It comes on not very frequent. Yeah, very lucky. I know some people they have this constantly. It's just pretty bad. It's the inflammation of the eye, and if I don't treat it, I can go blind. And it comes on quite fast. It could come on just overnight, or in the morning you can feel something that's irritated. By the afternoon, the eye is all red. It hurts and light sensitive, and be shedding some tears at times. And when it happens, it needs to be treated immediately. I need to get to the ophthalmologist, get some steroid eye drops to get that taken care of, and then follow up with the ophthalmologist to make sure that there's no damages inside the eye as well. Uveitis is my second autoimmune condition that I have to deal with. Now, this other one, the ears ringing, what is it called? Tinnitus. It's not classified as an autoimmune condition. I think it should, because from what I remember, as far as I remember, ever since I was a kid, I always had ringing in my ear. And just, I think, I am getting older. The most recent year or so, I can hear that the ringing has become a little bit more louder, and my actual hearing has actually degraded a little bit. I always had some hearing issues. I lost, I don't know, was it the very high pitch or something? The very high pitch, it was some kind of noise where, like, like people say, dogs can hear those dog whistles, but humans cannot hear, like the high pitch or so. I can't hear some certain pitches. But the recent year, I believe that I just felt the slightly loss of hearing that's coming on. So I think pretty much that is part of my ankylosing spondylitis, which is the condition that's caused all kinds of problem in my body. So I would think that this is probably one of the autoimmune conditions but it is not classified as it. I would think it is. Now, the other thing I thought I was having was multiple sclerosis. And multiple sclerosis is really have to do with the nerves. I've been having some cognitive issues, sometimes like lightheaded. The eye vision changes. Felt like I was fainting, but not quite fainting. I can see, but at the same time, it was not sharp. And on top of that, my responses has become a bit slower than usual. And that's only when I'm having some kind of sensation, these cognitive sensations coming on to me. I can feel like my whole body or my functionality is moving slower, my reaction is slower. It is particularly concerning when I'm actually driving at times. But however, I have a neurologist that did an EEG on my brain, and he said the result came out, it's not a sign of the multiple sclerosis. So, which is a good sign for me, but it's still concerning to know why I am having these particular issues. And I actually do have a some kind of correlation with my upper GI, my guts. Whenever my esophagus is acting up, I can sense these reactions coming onto me. The visions, the reaction is slow, the movements, or the lightheadedness, all that is coming on whenever I have the upper esophagus issues. Oh, and I also have a little bit of psoriasis on my foot as well. And psoriasis is actually quite severe condition in certain people. But for me, it's a very slight condition. Lucky again. I'm already dealing enough with the ankylosing spondylitis. I don't need any more major condition than that. My IBS is also bad enough at times as well. So for me, I am dealing with four different autoimmune disease. I don't know how about other people. Are you guys dealing with multiple? What are you guys dealing with? Would love to hear from you. I'd love to share your experience. And leave me a comment below. And let me know how you are managing your conditions. I love to hear from you because I want to learn from you as well. I'll make a separate video on my other autoimmune conditions like the IBS, the uveitis, the psoriasis, and I want to talk a little bit more in depth on what kind of problem it caused me and how I was treating it, what my doctor told me to do, and how I go about managing these conditions on the next video. Get a little more in depth. In this video, I do want to share with everybody that I do have multiple autoimmune conditions, and generally, like my doctor always told me, that people who has one autoimmune condition would most likely other people would have multiple autoimmune conditions. I would love to hear from you. Let me know what you are dealing with and how you're managing your conditions. We can all share our stories. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like my video, please give me a like and please subscribe. I'll have more videos coming out in the future. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye. Yeah, I'm up at the mountains again. Look in the back over here. Quite nice. Very comfortable up here. I took a walk up the hill. That's part of my exercise, and it's very comfy coming up here to just sit here and have a little chit chat with everybody.